Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It's Friday, the 15th day of February. Today is National Gumdrop Day. Singles Awareness Day. See, I thought that was yesterday, but apparently that's today. I was wrong. Also, National Wisconsin Day. It is National Caregivers Day and No One Eats Alone Day. So if you see somebody eating alone today, go sit with them and say, hey, not today.
I hate it when anybody has to eat alone.
I know. You kind of get all worked up about that.
I do.
We've been at restaurants, and she's like, should we go sit with that guy? Because there's like an older gentleman by himself. She's like, we should go sit with him.
Especially older men. For some reason.
Just let the guy eat in peace, Heidi. Come on.
For some reason, that's harder on me than anybody else.
Your grandmother passed away, and you were always thinking about your grandfather being alone, and I think that's probably why that is.
Yeah, probably.
Hey, coming up later in the program, I'm going to visit with Jordan Goodman. He is America's Money Answers Man. Going to be chatting with him before you know it, right here on the John and Heidi Show.
Do you have a pretty good sense of humor? You might like this. Early in the morning each day and every day, we share something weird to make people laugh at WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. You don't need to sign up for anything. You don't even need to spend a penny. Just follow the page on Facebook and get a smile to start each day when we share the Weird Gift of the Day. Not on Facebook? That's okay. You can see the weird gifts on our website too. WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. That's WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com.
Now, surveys and studies and such brought to you by BetterCreditCards.net. A study by the Journal of Reproduction found that smoking marijuana may increase your sperm count. That's not what I was expecting.
No.
You'd think it'd be the other way around, but I don't know. I wonder if that was like a real study, or if there were people that, you know, they're working on their accreditation and they got caught smoking joints. And they're like, no, we're just doing
a study.
Just doing a study. That's probably what it was. I don't know. Maybe not. Surveys and studies and such brought to you by BetterCreditCards.net. Credit cards. For years, I didn't use credit cards. We paid off all of our debt and we quit using credit altogether. But then our credit score went down. It was affecting our insurance rates. Not sure why, but that's tied to your credit score. I'm not suggesting you rack up credit card debt just to rack up credit card debt. But my wife and I now each use a credit card and then we pay them off every month. It's helped our credit score. But not all cards are the same. Some cards are better than others. If you'd like to find one that's the best fit for you, check out BetterCreditCards.net. That's BetterCreditCards.net. And this is your brain on drugs. 47-year-old Carrie Smith was arrested after she was seen chasing Dante Hedgepath out of a Super 8 motel across the street in York, Pennsylvania. According to authorities,
supposed to know who that is?
No.
You say that name like...
No. This is just a story. He got freaked out and left the room. Smith followed him completely naked. See, that's the interesting part.
No, yeah.
And screaming to come back. Later, police said that they were in the room and she began acting crazy. And she said that she wanted to have kids and start a life together. Smith was taken into custody. Turns out that she had a little bit of alcohol in her system. They said she had a very intoxicating odor. Both of them did. So, and apparently she wanted to, settle down and have their happily ever after. And he was like, yeah, I don't think so.
I'm out of here.
So, there you go. That's what happens, I guess, when your brain is on drugs. Now, big screen, little screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com. Amazon is in the news because they released a documentary that claims to have discovered proof that Noah's Ark is a historical fact. They think that they found Noah's Ark. The show is called Bible Conspiracies. I've actually seen some stuff online about that. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I've seen
video footage,
photographic evidence of the parting of the Red Sea.
There's some cool stuff. So they've got this new program on Amazon called Bible Conspiracies, and it sounds quite fascinating. Oscar producers are under fire for dumping 4 traditional categories out of this year's show in order to fit in more commercial breaks. Well, you got plenty more time because there's no host, making dumb jokes, so you should have plenty of time. Twitter is ripping Will Smith's Aladdin genie for being too blue after the trailer began showing online. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen the trailer, but I saw the still of him.
Image?
It's super creepy.
Is it really? I've not seen it. I'll have to check it out.
It's something that you'd love to be able to get out of your memory.
So I shouldn't look for it, is what you're saying?
No, it's really creepy.
Well, this has been Big Screen, Little Screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com.
Join us in Las Vegas for 80s in the Desert. Hear awesome 80s music from Scandal, featuring Patti Smythe, A Flock of Seagulls, Richard Page of Mr. Mister, Tony Lewis from The Outfield, Pretty Poison, Thomas Dolby, and more. Also, meet people from your favorite 80s movies, like Robert Hayes from Airplane, E.G. Daily from Valley Girl, and more. May 3rd and May 4th. Get more info now at 80sinthedesert.rocks. Use promo code RADIO to save $25 per ticket.
Now your scoop of the day, brought to you by BetterCreditCards.net. A study by the JAMA Journal of Medicine. I wonder what that stands for. JAMA.
I don't know.
JAMA Journal of Medicine. It's kind of fun to say. You should say it.
The JAMA Journal of Medicine.
Yeah. Says here that eating ultra-processed foods like potato chips and cookies will accelerate your risk of early death. Really? Like, Nobody
had to do a study for that?
Thought that we all knew that already? I'm pretty sure we already knew all of that. I don't know. Maybe not.
Cutting edge stuff there, JAMA.
Yeah. Thanks, JAMA Journal. A group of Houston teenagers discovered a tiger inside a vacant house after they went inside to smoke weed. So I wonder if they...
Tiger? I wonder how the tiger got in a vacant house.
I'm assuming somebody probably put it there, but I'm just guessing. Either that or they were smoking a lot of weed and the tiger doesn't exist. But, yeah, that's the second weed story today. I don't really read drug stories usually, but that's what's in the news today for some reason. So a group of Houston teenagers discovered a tiger in a vacant house. I just think that is so bizarre. A Department of Justice, the Department of Justice, they named Chicago the most corrupt city in the country. Are you shocked?
I am not at all shocked.
They're kind of known for that. I mean...
Yeah.
Nothing against Chicago. We've been there before. I would not want to live in Chicago. We've got friends who do. Love you guys dearly. I think it's even a cool town. I mean, we drove around. I was like, what a neat town. Can't wait to leave. I was like, no, it wasn't for me.
It's expensive to even just drive there.
The tolls on the road.
Tolls every 3.5 feet.
And it was crazy because it was $3.60.
It was such a bizarre amount. Yeah,
Look, it's such a bizarre amount for us to have. Who has $3.60 just at the quick? And it was
every
like
2 feet.
It was more like every 20 miles, but it was kind of crazy. Anyway, Chicago, the most corrupt city in the country, according to the Department of Justice. Pakistani officials say an American trophy hunter paid $110,000 to kill a rare mountain goat. So that seems a little bizarre, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, usually when you think of these big game hunters and trophy hunters, you think, I'm not saying that this is any better, but usually when you see the photos, it's something like a tiger, or a lion or an elephant or some big thing. But a goat? I mean, what kind of trophy hunter's out shooting goats anyway? I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
For that, you get a participation trophy? I don't know. It doesn't seem all that cool, really. So I've got a link to that story if you're interested in that.
Although, of things to have mounted on a wall...
A goat?
I'm just saying.
No.
For my, weird artwork wall...
Yeah. Heidi has a whole... In our hall, we're married to each other. For those of you who don't know that. That might also clear up some of the weird comments we make back and forth once in a while. I think we've probably cleared that up numerous times that we're married. But
could be new listeners.
Could be, yes. And if you are, thank you for listening. But my wife here has the most bizarre sense of humor. And we've got a hallway in our home that is her bizarre artwork hallway. And every once in a while, I'll see something somewhere, and I'm like, "Oh, I got to get that for her. That's definitely going to fit in there." The nice thing is, usually the things are really cheap because nobody else wants it.
I know.
So.
They're always on clearance.
Hey, Heidi,
nobody else wants it, and then I put it in my weird artwork hallway.
Here's another thing for your ugly artwork hallway. Sorry to the artist. Didn't mean to. So, yeah, I could see you do that. And one last story we're going to squeeze in here. The world's most expensive island has just gone up for sale in the Arabian Peninsula. It is $462 million. I mean, a bargain at that, too. $462 million.
That's the world's most expensive
The world's
island?
most expensive island just went up for sale. It's $462 million. That's almost $500 million. You would think that there'd be an island worth more than that?
Well, I'm kind of surprised that you can get a whole island for that when there are celebrity houses that you see what those things sell for and
Not
stuff.
$462 million. No, that's a pretty spendy thing. I've got a link to that. Anybody
But
that's,
you'd be your own island. You wouldn't have to talk to anybody ever. It would be
True.
awesome.
No, I would miss people. If you are island shopping,
You could bring
I have
your
a link to
favorite
that.
people. You just wouldn't have to talk to the people you don't
You
like.
think you'd make the cut?
Probably not.
I have a link to that in the show notes at John.
You'd miss my weird artwork.
.com.
Do you have IRS tax problems? Are they keeping you up at night? Afraid to open your own mail or even answer your telephone? If your tax problems are affecting your family life, you need to know you have options. You have rights, and we'll make sure you get them. Call and speak with Mike Habib, the tax expert who will handle your case at 877-78-TAXES or online at myirs.taxrelief.com. That's 877-78-TAXES or myirs.taxrelief.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Once a month, we reach out to our good friend Jordan Goodman, America's Money Answers man, and then we ask him all kinds of fun financial questions, and he helps us out. He's on the line with us right now. Jordan, how are you, sir?
Great to be with you again, John.
Always good to chat with you. You've literally written the book on many different financial topics. How many books do you have out right now?
14, actually.
14 books. And I see you on TV programs all the time when I'm flipping through the channels. So you're kind of the voice to be talking about a lot of different subjects. And ahead of time, you and I were chatting, and you said you really wanted to talk about the American heroes and some really cool programs out there right now to help them save some money. That's a really neat idea.
That's right. Well, heroes are people who put themselves on the line for us every day. And it's nice to appreciate them and say thank you for your service, but I'd like to give them thousands of dollars as well.
Oh, yeah.
So American heroes are defined as military, both current military and veterans of any kind, doctors, anybody in the medical field, dentists, nurses, anything like that, policemen, or anything like security, something like the Homeland Security, something like that, firemen, doctors, teachers, even clergy are all considered American heroes.
Nice.
And, these are the people that, when the fire's running, we're running away from it, they're running into it. So,
absolutely.
They've got quite a job they've taken on here. So what they don't realize is there are programs out there that can save them literally thousands of dollars when either buying a home, selling a home, taking out a mortgage, refinancing a mortgage, anything in the home-related area, called Heroes Come First. And you just go to that free website, heroescomefirst.com, and then you see in your area who is signed up to provide the rebate. So, for example, on real estate, when you buy a home or when you sell a home, you get a rebate of 1/4 of the real estate agent's commission if they're signed up for that program. That can be thousands of dollars right there.
That's
so
awesome.
That's a big incentive right there. You get a discount on the mortgage rate that you would normally get coming in off the street. And then there's all kinds of closing costs involved in buying or selling a home. Appraisals, escrow, attorney's fees. There's just a lot of things that you don't think about, and they give discounts on that as well. So it adds up. It can be $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. They also have a one-time $10,000 grant called the Heroes Grant, which can go towards a down payment on a first home as well, if you're one of these heroes. So there's just a lot of different ways, and most heroes don't know they're eligible for these kind of things at all.
That's really cool that it even exists, and I'm glad that you're talking about it so we can hopefully help get the word out to the people who do qualify.
And if you're not a hero yourself, and I think you are, John, but just in case, you may know heroes who are, in this circumstance, who are firemen or policemen or military. So again, that website, heroescomefirst.com, they got a phone number to 888-437-6114, and they will refer you to the lawyers or the appraisal companies or the mortgage companies or whoever it may be who are enrolled in the program, who will, and from their point of view, they want to give back, but they get business they wouldn't get otherwise. If you're a real estate agent, okay, you get 3/4 of your normal commission, but 3/4 is better than nothing, so they get something out of it as well.
I'll throw a link to that in our show notes to make sure people can find that. And then let's talk about at least one of your books, because you got all these books, and we don't talk about them nearly enough. Is there one of the books that you have that may be the most prevalent book to talk about today?
Well, probably Master Your Debt is the one that relates to most people. I mean, there's a lot of people out there who've taken on a lot of debt recently. The credit card debt just exploded at the end of last year. We're well over $1 trillion in credit card debt now. We have huge amounts of student loan debt, up to about $1.5 trillion in student loan debt that's growing all the time. Mortgages, it's about $13 trillion these days, and even car loan debt. So there's just a lot of debt out there, John, and that's what I go into in Master Your Debt to kind of help people. They can look at my website, moneyanswers.com, either get a physical version or there's an electronic version It's an area that people are not trained how to avoid very well. And it's very easy to get into debt, but kind of hard to get out of it.
And again, I'll throw a link to Jordan's website as well, America Money Answers Man. It's moneyanswers.com, but I'll throw a link in our show notes to that, to the book, and also to the Heroes Come First website. Jordan, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks so much, John. Appreciate it.
Again, Jordan Goodman, he is America's Money Answers Man. I've got a link to all of the info that we talked about today in our show notes for today, and you'll find that at johnandheidishow.com. Credit cards. For years, I didn't use credit cards. We paid off all of our debt and we quit using credit altogether. But then our credit score went down. It was affecting our insurance rates. Not sure why, but that's tied to your credit score. I'm not suggesting you rack up credit card debt just to rack up credit card debt. But my wife and I now each use a credit card and then we pay them off every month. It's helped our credit score. But not all cards are the same. Some cards are better than others. If you'd like to find one that's the best fit for you, check out bettercreditcards.net. That's bettercreditcards.net. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
It says right here that William Shakespeare invented the name Jessica. Our daughter has a friend named Jessica. I wonder if she knows that. It says it can't be proven that he invented it per
I was gonna
se.
say, that'd be kinda
but
hard to...
the first written instance of the name for sure was in something from 1596 in his play Merchant of Venice. Shylock's daughter, her name was Jessica. So there you go. That's kind of cool.
That if it's true, it's kind of cool.
It's the first time it was in writing, was in Shakespeare's work, that Merchant of Venice, but he may not have invented it. Maybe it was like a neighbor named their kid that. He's like, I like it. I'm going to pen that. No, I'm famous for it. He's famous for other stuff too, I guess. Anyway, this has been your fun fact. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Join us in Las Vegas for 80s in the desert. Hear awesome 80s music from Scandal, featuring Patty Smythe, A Flock of Seagulls, Richard Page of Mr. Mister, Tony Lewis from The Outfield, Pretty Poison, Thomas Dolby, and more. Also, meet people from your favorite 80s movies, like Robert Hayes from Airplane, E.G. Daly from Valley Girl, and more. May 3rd and May 4th. Get more info now at 80sinthedesert.rocks. Use promo code RADIO to save $25 per ticket.
Now, fear this. It's fun with phobias. Here's a phobia for today, Heidi. It's vitricophobia. Vitricophobia. V-I-T-R-I-C-O-P-H-O-B-I-A. Vitricophobia. What do you think that is?
This one I don't know.
It is a fear of a stepfather. So if you have a stepfather, you have a stepfather.
In a million years would have guessed that.
Are you afraid of your stepfather?
No, I love my dad.
Yeah, he's pretty darn cool. Vitricophobia. I don't think I said it right that time. I probably didn't say it right any time. I do have a link to it in the show notes at johnandheidishow.com.
Do you have a pretty good sense of humor? You might like this. Early in the morning each day and every day, we share something weird to make people laugh at weirdgiftoftheday.com. You don't need to sign up for anything. You don't even need to spend a penny. Just follow the page on Facebook and get a smile to start each day when we share the weird gift of the day. Not on Facebook? That's okay. You can see the weird gifts on our website too. weirdgiftoftheday.com. That's weirdgiftoftheday.com.
Now, some weird news brought to you by weirdgiftoftheday.com. I'm going to take a look here really quick and see. It's a weird tie with like burgers on it and stuff. I don't know. That's not as weird as some of them. A solo vehicle accident occurred. This is the weird news. On Highway 18 in California, a white Ford van overturned on the highway and landed on its side after crossing into the oncoming traffic. So that happens all the time. This happened at 1:34 in the afternoon. So, that's an afternoon thing. Right. Doesn't typically, you wouldn't think of that, that time of day that there's somebody flip their vehicle.
Right.
And it gets even weirder because the male driver became confrontational with bystanders and officers, and he said he didn't want law enforcement on the scene at all, and he wanted a tow truck. The van was on its side. Of course, the officers did show up. They were trying to figure out what happened exactly, and that is when he said, well, there was an alien intervention.
Oh, yeah.
And that a UFO is what knocked his vehicle on its side. And they still have no idea why the vehicle was on its side. It's under investigation by the Highway Patrol in California. They're trying to figure it out. It's just bizarre. So, I don't know. Maybe it was aliens.
I don't think so.
You never know. Could have been. Thanks for listening to Weird News on the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Now your moment of duh, brought to you by FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. A 16-year-old boy was arrested when he briefly took control of an airplane during a short commercial flight. This was over western Alaska.
What? How did he get...
Well, here's what happened. He was in the front seat, the passenger seat, of a Piper Cherokee 6 on a recent Uter commuter service flight.
So it's one of those tiny puddle jumpers.
Between two remote communities. Usually it takes about 4 minutes. Well, state troopers say that
4 minutes?
Yeah, they just basically, they fly up and then they drop back down. So it's just
Wouldn't
a quick...
ferry be just as quick?
I don't know. Anyway, the plane was entering a steep climb because the kid grabbed the wheel and, yanked on it. The woman behind the kid grabbed around his neck and pulled him away from the controls, stabilized the aircraft when the pilot took over again. Just think of how scary that would be. Oh, that's
super dangerous.
And then when they landed, they tried to detain him, but he slipped away before they could. They did finally take him into custody. It turned into one heck of a deal.
Yeah, that's probably
But they didn't
good.
catch him till the next day. So
he needs to be taught a lesson.
Yeah,
that's not
you don't
okay.
do that. That is definitely today's moment of duh. Credit cards. For years, I didn't use credit cards. We paid off all of our debt and we quit using credit altogether. But then our credit score went down. It was affecting our insurance rates. Not sure why, but that's tied to your credit score. I'm not suggesting you rack up credit card debt just to rack up credit card debt. But my wife and I now each use a credit card and then we pay them off every month. It's helped our credit score. But not all cards are the same. Some cards are better than others. If you'd like to find one that's the best fit for you, check out bettercreditcards.net. That's bettercreditcards.net. Now, these three things. Heidi, what do these three things have in common? Wolves, cigarettes, and gum. What do those three things have in common? If you know at home, shout out the answer so everybody knows how smart you are. Wolves, gum, and cigarettes. There's something that they all have in common. They all come in...
packs.
Yeah, they all come in packs. Yes.
I was thinking they all have butts, but gum doesn't have butt.
Cigarette butts, wolf butts, I guess. Gum butts? I don't think so. They do all come in packs, and that's the answer to these three things. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of The John and Heidi Show is brought to you by The John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying The John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with good news, and I think this is good news. Comes your way courtesy of bettercreditcards.net. The good news today, here's the headline. When teacher sees boy cycling down the highway, she turns around and helps to save his dad's life. How cool is that?
Jeez.
A 7-year-old boy was lucky that his elementary school teacher was in the right place at the right time. Otherwise, his father might be in big trouble. Cameron Simonik, a second grader in Colorado, just returned home from a day of school when he found his dad had fallen unconscious on the kitchen floor. The dad has diabetes, and Cameron knew that he had to call for help. When he tried to use the phone, however, he got locked out because he didn't know the password. Then he ran to the neighbor's house. Guess what? Nobody was home. So the trepidatious youngster, they put in big words there just to confuse me. This youngster grabbed his bike and started pedaling down the highway in hopes of reaching his grandmother's house. Meanwhile, his teacher saw him and thought, wait a minute, what's going on here? And she asked the young man what was going on. He explained everything was all better. They helped. The dad is better now. They say there's no doubt that God placed me where he did when he needed me. That's what the teacher said. How cool is that?
How many times does that happen, though? I mean, that happens all the time.
Where somebody's the right person in the right
Yep.
place. You know, when I was a little kid, I don't remember how old I would have been, probably 7 or 8. My sister, who at the time was 2, drowned and was dead, was completely dead. And my older brother ran to get help. And if he would have run to the right, 2 doors down, there was a guy named Stanley who lived there year-round and had a phone in his cabin. Instead, he ran left, which you'd think was the wrong answer, right? No, he got 2 cabins down, and the EMTs were there having their summer picnic.
How amazing!
I mean, if he would have been thinking, he would have gone the right way, which really would have been the wrong way. Instead, he went the wrong way, which is really the right way.
Right.
I mean, it's just amazing to me. I think that I remember I was with my dad, and he was doing CPR on my sister, and 2 minutes later, the EMTs were there. And my dad was like, where did you guys come from?
Yeah.
It was amazing. What a
You
miracle.
would have a really hard time convincing me that there's not a higher power.
Me too, absolutely. Well, I think this is a cool story. I've got a link to that in the show notes. It's definitely time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. You have a great day. You have a great weekend. You have a great February. I don't know. Well, hopefully see you back here again soon. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.